Welcome back to Red Brook Farm in Scarborough, Maine, www.redbrookhoney.com. It is the 29th of November and we're in Scarborough here, and what we're doing is coming down to getting ready to work on putting some wrapping the beehives for the winter. It's been very warm. We've had an extraordinarily warm, we were in the 50s today. It's been warm all month, a couple of cool nights. What you have here is two 5-frame nukes. Nuke hive is a nucleus hive, two 5-frame hives. So what you have here is 5 frames of bees and 5 frames, 2 separate colonies. These girls are going up on top of one of the other colonies as soon as it gets cold enough. And there's the back entrance. You see the hive on the left here enters from this side. The hive on the other side enters from the front. And what these guys do is I'll put this box, I'm going to take this much from here to here, I'll take this much and I'm going to set it on top of one of the other hives here. It's probably going to be hive number 3 because that's my strongest hive. What we've been doing here this fall is the girls have been kind of robbing each other. Mother Nature is rather cruel. We get some frosts in early October here, and that kind of kills the forage, and so the girls start foraging against each other. They start actually robbing out each other. And so what you have for a colony here, this is the front entrance, which is significantly reduced. As you can see, it's about 1.5 inches. This is 10 frames of brood here, 10 frames of honey here, 10 frames across in each. So there's 20 frames in each one of these colonies. And I have screen bottom boards on. And what this is the smoker that I use, and inside the smoker are pine needles. And the smell of pine smoke in the hive actually masks the alarm pheromone and masks the pheromone communication so that they're not as defensive. So what I just checked the weight on all of them. And the way I check the weight is I have these tools here, and if I take a tool and if I go in the back right in here like this, and I can lift up, and I lift up and I gather the weight, and they aren't as strong as I'd like them to be. Colony number 3 is the heaviest, so she has the most honey. They were all very strong about 6 weeks ago, and what's happened is they've been robbing each other. And so right now there are 2, 4, 6 colonies that are going to go into the winter here, plus the 2 5-frame nukes. So a total of 8 colonies. The 2 5-framers, keep them on top, put them right on. I take this cover off. And I set them on top of the inner cover, which is closed up, so the warmth goes up through. What we have here is a hive that I've opened up, and when I was weighing it I said, oops, at AZ, and then I took the cover and I looked, and what we've got is a dead colony. And I'll show you what happened. This is the top frame box, and as you can see from the top frame box, that is empty. If you look in here, if you look down through, you can see the light all the way through. There are no bees in here at all. And what they've done is they've been robbed out by the other colonies. That little entrance there was just enough for the girls to get in and rob it. And see, this is the inner cover that I was referring to a moment ago, and this inner cover is what's on top, and this is what's going to separate the other colonies that I do. But what I wanted to show you was what I've got left here is just the smallest cluster of dead bees that was left from after the robbing. The whole colony is empty, totally empty, and what I've got left, they died defending themselves here. And if you look down through, you can see the grass down below, and you can see some dead bees on that. And what you're looking at here is a cluster. See this one and this one, these two together like that. And what you've got here is the bees. I'll show you in a minute what they were doing. They were clustering to keep warm, and they had a queen problem, because what you've got there See that cell? See that big fat cell? What that is a emergency queen. Looks to me like an emergency queen cell. They were trying to requeen. I see all these cappings here. The caps are bullet caps, so they're drone caps. They're drone caps, and so they had been queenless for a little bit. What you've got on this side here are drone caps as well. These are all drones, and I'm going to look at them earlier to see if there's any disease. But those are drones, which is what happens when you get when they go queenless, and then the laying workers, the infertile females, will start to lay eggs, and when they do it, they have no semen, so they lay infertile eggs, and the bees are falling off here. But what this cluster, see this cluster here? And if I shake the bees off of this cluster, what I'm going to find is a couple of more queen cells. So these girls stayed together tight. I got to pull out just a little bit. They stayed together. See, there's 2 queen cells that were never finished, and I can see if I scrape off a cluster of bees here, I can see some queen cells there. And so what they were doing is they were clustered, and we've had some nights that were in the 20s, and there's just not enough bees to keep themselves warm when it gets into the 20s here. There's just not enough of them, and so I'm leaving that apart, but I put that back together. What's holding this together, as you see, is kind of a little snap when I do this. And what I'm doing when I snap it like that is I'm breaking away the propolis. See the sticky on the sides here? And what I see here, the bright, shiny, this stuff here, when I zoom out, is pollen. And then there's the whitish looking caps of the drone cells. And they put, what they did, I've got to look at those to see if it's, it looks to me like they put drones, they laid drones in worker bee cells. See, this here is, you see the cells, and what they did is, this is worker bee size cells with male eggs in them, and that tells me they had a laying worker here. And I'm looking at some brood that is chalk brood. It's cold, and so they died when it was cold out. But what you've got here, this is a dead colony. I'll take the pieces back up, and this frame here goes inside the colonies. So there's an update from Red Brook Farm in Scarborough, Maine. Late afternoon, 29th of November. And there's our one colony that's not going to make it this winter. We had, so I'll let it go at that. redbrookhoney.com. Have a great day.